there are so many different like laser beam focus, like certain individuals or certain topics rather are being laser beam focused on. Yeah, maybe he was doing drugs. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Maybe the God. Now I'm racking my brain for a second. Scramble. Uh, Focusing on the damn car turning around was so absurd because it makes perfect sense. And I went on a show what 6 months ago, and I was explaining what my DoorDash driver best friend told me. Yeah, we do that all the time. It makes perfect sense. And though because the public have not heard any details, we have to speculate and make it worse essentially. Um,
Hmm.
so there are certain things that and it fuels our community, and I do agree with that because I'm in the film and entertainment industry, so I understand how we have to market and how we have to push certain things. Though there's a we have well, I'm hoping soon that we find the light saving room to cut through all the negativity and just get straight to the facts. I
Yeah,
What I hope for.
true, true.
Yep.
Okay,
I agree.
Richard, you're gonna have the floor in a second. I want to have B introduce herself, and afterwards me,
And,
and then
hi
you.
guys, I am a doctor of psychology, and I've been paying
Oh,
Oh, hello.
special. Oh, hi. I've been paying special attention to the profiling of the suspect long before they arrested Koberger. And I think, like, even though, Occam's razor should be like the rule in crime, the same as in science, because it is a science in a way, you're like kind of asking questions, like solving problems.
Mhm.
So I never really saw this crime that way. I think there is like a lot of like little like minuscule details such as the forum posts I see you too, and who is behind these two profiles. So suddenly, like that completely went out of the focus. And I think that that's a very, like, hypothetically say, it could be possible that Brian was doing research for his PhD, and I'm quite familiar how that works, and especially if he was working with questionnaires, the sky is the limit of how much you can actually like learn about another person, in these kind of situations. If he was working with like a micro population, like so more like a case studies where the qualitative answers are very important, so he would have been in the position of like getting to know some of the really really personal experiences to potentially a lot, of the like criminals, killers. I don't know if I should.
well, woman, let me first say, B, I already love you
Oh, thank
because
you. I love you
I
too.
this
I
is
do
my
too.
niche. This is totally my niche.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's why I wanted to speak, because I usually don't, and I've been following this from the very beginning. I just thought it was really unusual, like the way it was portrayed as well. Like occasionally we have cases in which like really small children, like I heard, and the case doesn't really turn out to be so big.
Hmm.
So then I'm thinking, it's most likely that even if like a lot of the people are hiding something, they can actually very easily push the narrative and turn this, like into whatever they want. The sky is the limit, literally, in a
Yeah,
human mind.
but that is kind of the thing, and everybody can turn on his microphone. Crime, Richard, we can all have a discussion. But
Cool.
the thing,
I have
but
a
the thing is that is
well,
really
he's
intriguing to me
ready
is
then.
that we are pursuing this guy for being psychologically intelligent. That
Mm-hmm.
means that just as me, I'm kind of an introvert. I can be really a
Mm-hmm.
socialite if I want to,
Yeah.
But the thing is that from a young age, it all depends on what kind of traumatic experience you have. You're trying to understand yourself. At least I had that, so I'm
Of
trying to
course.
reflect that situation on Brian, for example. But hold
Yeah.
on, first I want to introduce me because I thought he left because he she. So me, floor is yours.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
You
Just so
can?
you know,
Fantastic.
yeah. Just so you know, your camera's on.
My camera is on.
Yeah. So down at the bottom.
About that.
There you go.
I
By
got
the
it.
way, I'm not sure who has the echo, but that really needs to be fixed though.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can go into settings. My echo cancellation and the volume
Hold on.
seems right.
Okay, Richard, that is coming from you. Can you
Oh,
please fix that?
we straight?
Yeah. Far
Yep.
away.
Yep. You're good.
Okay. Well, I've been following this case since the beginning because I actually have a degree in criminology. And when I saw this originally, I thought he should lose his degree. He committed the most difficult hands on crime by himself. It just didn't make any sense. And the further that I looked into it, just, for fun, there are so many problems. And so I don't really know anything about the true crime, all these different platforms and who gets along with who and all of those things because it's so unimportant to me.
Yep.
What's important, very much like Kim said last night, is I'm a mom. I have two girls. I worked in the court system for a long time. I'm very familiar with police, lawyers, judges. I'm I I know a lot about the system. And when the PCA came out, as everyone said, it was very clear there was something wrong. I have gone back and forth between the informant thing that heard you guys talking about today.
Okay,
Um,
hold on a second. You were talking about Kim. I'm not aware of a Kim.
no, Kim from last night, WSMU Kim, the one
I don't have a freaking clue what that is.
WSU Kim.
No,
The
don't have a clue
mom.
what it is.
No. Yeah. No. We don't. We don't
Oh,
That's
look at.
good. That's good. You see, you guys are not
Yeah. No. We don't look
pushing
into
the.
all that WSU Kim stuff.
No.
You kind of you're not
We stick with.
pushing the narrative.
Yeah,
Like
don't get
you
me
were.
started on that one.
Yeah. No. We
oh,
stick with. We stick with.
well,
Yeah.
again, I heard her on something last night.
Oh wait, is that the mom that says that she
Yeah.
knows all
Yeah.
like
Yes,
I
full
was
yes,
stuff?
done.
yes.
I was done. I was
Okay.
done after the email. To be honest with
Don't
you.
go there.
But
Okay.
Don't go there.
yeah.
No, not
Email, all
gonna.
of those things. I don't know who she is. I don't know anything about her versus I've heard what she had to say along with all these other people who are allegedly possibly around. Um, the point in all of it is some of the things that she said reminded me of some things that I saw a long time ago. So I went back and looked, drug some stuff up, and um, there are some very valid questions that I think everybody, well, not everybody, because you guys are up here talking about it, um, just it seems to fly in the face of reason that a person who is far more advanced in their studies than I was with a criminology degree, and if I were going to plan a perfect murder, it certainly wouldn't involve me and a knife. That would
Yeah.
be that would be the
I don't.
last crime I would. Now,
Exactly.
could I mastermind it? Could I have a
Exactly.
discussion with people and explain to them how it could be done? Then could I put myself in a position to say, I'll be the bait. They'll come for me. They won't get me. And then they'll
Uh,
have nothing. And that has been my fear from the beginning, only
Yes.
because he is very bright. He wouldn't
Yeah.
be there if he wasn't. Another very interesting thing is Kathleen Ranslin writing him the letter, and there only being two people accepted into the program. And I
that's
know
not
this
Captain
might.
Ramsden though. It was another
And
doctor that did it.
I thought she wrote a
Somebody
letter,
else.
and I'll have to go back and look because I feel like she didn't something that said she's only written very few in her life, and his being one of them. But again, I
Yeah.
could be wrong on that.
I
Um,
always thought that sorry, I'm really
no, no.
sorry to interrupt, but it's very interesting what you're saying. I have from the beginning thought about very sophisticated mind game, and
Yes.
then there could have been a whole host of steps to create a perfect storm. But I think that there is just too much connection between the likeness of the cars, or like certain trucks passing, or this or that, for that to be one guy who, it just doesn't add up. Doesn't add up
Oh, I
at
Well,
all.
absolutely agree
that,
that one person is. I mean, one person is capable of a murder like that. However,
Exactly. That's
there
not
would be a
this
lot of.
you,
person.
you know, kind of the thing is that is really bothering me is that we talk about the speculation about multiple people being involved, but the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of statistical theses out there that does this kind of study, and it kind of indicates that either an individual has more mental issues, so lack of remorse or whatever, that does not know what they're doing, and some people with mental issues, they usually become a serial killer, but they can kind of like discredit the, for example, the arrest that is being made right now. By the way, guys, I will be live again at 4 p.m. Please watch because the press conference of the Long Island serial killer is going to be there. So we're definitely going to cover that as well. However, there's this entire study. We know the BEU, how it kind of started. And the fact of the matter is that these people are like, they're really good at covering themselves. Especially if this guy did it, for example, the whatchamacallit, the architect that did it. The same thing with BTK. He was a normal family man. They're really good at reflecting at society. So their fantasy is reflected within their normal lives. They're really good at that. And I used to work at mental health, and I noticed that as well. I actually was really good at my job. Too bad they kind of paid bad, and my job was pretty shitty in hours because I didn't have any social life. That's why I quit in the first place. But the matter of the fact is that if you look at the observation of all these people, they have all similarities. Every single one have similarities. And B, as an expert, you should know that as well. They have all similarities. And look, see, Brian was a socialite. Well, not a socialite, sorry. He was an introvert. He wanted to be liked. He wanted to understand the world how it is. The same as
Yes.
me. I wanted to understand the world as well. That's how I got
But we
into
don't know that, we often project, like the way
fair.
we introspect on other people, because like I was thinking, like everybody knows a guy like that, that's like a little bit, too advanced intellectually for his generation, develops a bit awkwardly, and it's very dangerous territory, like when you got, when you take all these like known similarities and then you start pinning them onto this person, like then a person is already in so much disadvantage that no matter how innocent they can be,
But
the, the yeah,
it is not that improper for this guy, for example. Maybe that's the reason why I cover true crime as well, because maybe back in the day when I had my certain issues, because
yeah,
there's always like a trauma involved. We can see that in serial killers as well, but that does not necessarily that you need to be a serial killer. See,
yeah,
if this guy did it, let's say that, and I'm just trying to give a little bit of background history.
yeah,
Why I understand Brian so much is that
yeah,
we could have been best friends, honestly. But the thing is that when you're a social outcast, you're trying to develop your manners in different ways. Maybe this is my exploit on making a
mm,
difference, and maybe he tried to do that as well. But
maybe,
I said maybe does not necessarily mean. I mean, I fucking love criminology, but the
Right.
thing is,
yeah.
you
Um, uh, you go on ahead and finish and let me know when you're done, and I.
no, you can interrupt me whenever you want.
Why I don't. The first experience I had with him, and I don't know if the 2011 post is from him, although it appears to be so, about his visual snow. And I read that totally different. And I
Me
want
too.
to tell you why. My entire career I spent working with juveniles. So all the way up to 21 years old, I did probation, parole. I worked in drug court. I spent time interviewing them and their families. I also worked in a jail for a short period of time where I interviewed people for public defenders before they before they would come in and kind of get all that background information. So for 18 years, all I did was interview kids and families that were in crisis, that had committed crimes, anything from running away to brutal murders. So I am, have been around, sat down and talked with young girls who have committed murders. So when I read his post, and I'm thinking about all of the children that I spoke to over my career, what I saw in him is someone that seemed remorseful, that he was mad at his dad. He seemed to really want to understand
Yeah,
how things work. And
yeah,
so I'm not saying that person can't turn into a murderer.
exactly.
Obviously anyone can.
Yeah.
However, with his education, um, the entire setup of the murder looks like someone who has a lot of information. And by that, I mean they know the cars that are around, they know who the DoorDash drivers are, they know the scheduling of people and camera,
Yeah.
etc.
So
And so I started thinking about Brian. Yeah, he's a TA and he's a PhD student, and he would have anyone in that field. You want to work with police, detective, FBI's, things like that. So you are coming into contact with those people. When I heard about his the master's questionnaire, all of those questions are very valuable um, questions that any person who is really trying to get to a criminal mind, and as you mentioned, the trauma, so we can kind of go back and try and help that so the criminal activity doesn't continue or worsen. And we're dealing with a young man, no, I'm sorry, he's not a young man. To me, he is, but who he stole his sister's cell phone, which shouldn't have even come out. And I was very disgusted with that, having done a first offender program where all of those children and families that I met with were assured that if they did their community service or they did whatever their requirements were, that that would be sealed. And so to me, for that to be brought up for him in this murder, and trying to say, oh, look at his criminal history, to go from stealing a cell phone to violently murdering four practical strangers at best, in a very short period of time with no one, makes zero sense. He could have met someone, my first theory about Enon, and he got back into drugs, and, Enon's house is right there up on the corner. Clearly, that was something to look at. He's a chef and good with knives and very, but Brian could have met him. He could have met, one of the girls at the house. And because of his social awkwardness, perhaps that has been somewhat described by people that we don't really know whether it's accurate or not. Um, I know working with police that the ones that I worked with, aren't really big fans of being questioned about their evidence or their speculations, because if they grab that one piece, then they're on the trail to solving the crime. And that doesn't really, I have found that there's no consideration about the person or the victimology, who the people were that were in that house. Because the moment we discuss it, then somehow we're shaming people, and somehow versus, we're just trying to make sure that the wrong person doesn't go to prison and the right person or people do. I have no attachments to any of them outside of it caught my interest because that is what my field is. And I understand, who he would want to get into contact with when he was there if he was continuing to pursue his degree. If he slipped off and started using drugs again, well, then yeah, all of those things change, but we don't have that information. And he does appear to be the perfect patsy, which then in my mind, I think that could allow him to feel like he could talk someone through it. And the entire part about,
Criminology, you said, right?
yes, sir. And
Okay,
the
what does a crime scene? What does a crime scene say?
well, we don't know anything about the crime scene outside of
We
the
do.
no blood anywhere. From what's
We,
been
de-
described,
we
I felt
definitely can. We definitely know something about this crime scene.
well, we
Not physically, but there's a certain connections.
connections to Brian.
No. Just
Oh,
saying there is a connection. Maybe that is the exculpatory evidence that they're looking for.
yes, but my thought is that door. I keep coming back to the DoorDash.
I'm not talking about that.
Oh, you're not Bethany?
Nope.
Oh, not that exculpatory evidence.
So, at first scene, what do we know about the victims?
They were in
We're
sorority,
talking about victimology, so
right? Sororities and fraternities. What we know is Kaylee wasn't in the same sorority. And from my understanding, although again, this is not, I'm not getting this from any of the victims in this, Kaylee was in a different sorority house. And if I can add, when I went to college, I was in a sorority, and I can't imagine a member of our sorority going and moving into another sorority house, and that being cool. And then the fact that we're talking prior to Christmas, she had just moved in with, from what her parents and family describe as her best friend. She finally gets the opportunity to live with her best friend. And by November, she has basically moved out and isn't living there by her family's comments. And that alone made me believe that Kaylee was having some feelings about being there. If I'm living with my best friend in college, and then within months, I'm no longer living there my senior year, and I'm only coming back occasionally and questioning, like, really, should I go back tonight? I'm not really sure. All these things her family discussed. That alone is a very strong indicator that there was something going on with her and her peers, not her and some strange guy.
well, in technicality, alpha beta pi, that means that you're more outstanding, according to research that I at least did. Maybe she felt a little, yeah, I don't know, maybe cocky than other ones. Steve kind
Her,
of said the same thing, which is bothering everyone. Kind of bothered me too. Because I don't know, what was the other sorority again? At least three. Let's see, Zena was in it, and Bethany was in it, Madison was in it, and everybody else was in it. So it was a pi beta pi sorority. So it's kind of odd that somebody with an upstanding standard, especially in the sorority, lives there. Sure, I totally agree with you. But the matter of the fact is that if you look at the connection, and you should know that, is that it's a alpha fucking whatever I just said kind of sorority. And that cop said in that body cam footage that I wonder what kind of sorority lives here, which was
oh, the
really
cop.
interesting in the first place. Hold
Huh,
on,
I'm
hold
sorry.
on. But the interesting thing is that Kaylee was not supposed to be there. Ethan was not supposed to be there. So what leaves that be? It leaves two girls that worked at the same place, were living at the same place, and were in the same
Precisely,
sorority.
precisely. And then there is the existence of these similar cars by different people, and just like coincidences, whether they're coincidences or not. Whether whoever killed that little dog had anything to do with it. And whether some bigger quantities of money or drugs or both have been going through somebody's hands. Because people get very, very angry when money is in question or their safety. I mean, safety in sense of getting caught. So who knows what the tips would have been there? Who knows? Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I had
No, don't
something
worry.
on my mind. And
Don't
usually,
worry. I
in,
like.
no, thank you. But usually in a murder case, you do process of elimination. So usually in a murder case, you get rid of the meal first. In this case, that happened either last or second last. I mean, I don't give a shit. It's like the perception of it.
Yeah,
So
I
this
don't
guy
feel.
was not
Yeah.
expecting it, or she. I don't know.
I feel like if the story goes that Brian had been stalking them, I would imagine again at a PhD level, we're gonna know whose car's whose boyfriend's who,
Exactly.
and so
Yeah.
they, the way the PCA reads is Brian gets a ping at his apartment, and then he gets in his car to go murder these people.
So my question is, who tipped him off?
I joked
Did he
with
tip himself off that he knew exactly when to leave?
Why does there need to be a tip off? Like, why can
Because I'm
a
trying to figure
singular
out
person do that?
I'm trying to figure out how he just got up. Frank, I'm trying to figure out how he was just playing a video game and got up and said, "All right, I know that they're leaving wherever they're at now, and they're going to be home at this time. I'm going to do this now."
Well,
It is a common sense time when usually burglars or
and then
thieves
hold on a second.
do their
Hold on a
thing.
second. And then he gets
No, I'm
there.
not gonna do my. You were asking a question. I'm responding.
I understand, but then he gets there, and who's there? DoorDash. What's on? Obviously a light. And he decides, I'm going to go in now when I don't, and like she said, I don't recognize half of the cars in the driveway. I could be outnumbered 15
he
to
did
1.
more than that, Willie. He did more than that. When he turned his phone into airplane mode, whatever he did, turned it off, where he was not connecting on any network. We don't know if he turned his phone off or what, but we do know that he stopped connecting on networks once he left the Pullman area, and then it did not connect again until 4:48, right? What I find interesting, excuse me, I'm so sorry. What I find interesting is the timing of him. Let's just go with turning the phone off, okay? Let's assume that's what he did. He turned off his phone at 2:48 a.m. The cutoff time to order DoorDash from that Burger King was 2:45 a.m. I talked with them right after all this happened.
Burger King or Jack in the Box?
Jack in the Box. Sorry. We only
Okay.
have a couple of Jack in the Boxes here, and I always just, my
That's
mind
okay.
goes to Burger
I
King.
just want to make. I didn't know if something was changed or.
Okay. But the cutoff was 2:45 a.m. That's exactly when he headed that way. All right. Then when he got there in the area at 3:26 a.m., he didn't just go in and do this. He circled. He circled 3 times, waiting for the right time. What was he waiting for? He waited until precisely when DoorDash was finally there. When I talked to Jack in the Box, they said that they were running late that night on orders because of the football game. Normally, guess what time the order would have arrived? 3:30. That is what they. So when he got there, was right.
They can tell you that. Internet would tell you
in the
something
circle.
different though, because they only deliver around 4.
Right. That's why I have a gut feeling that that's why he ended up circling around. And I don't think Gray
Do we know for a fact?
Showing him circling all the way around Wellington and back. There was like 9 minutes between loops. I think he just parked at the back of the house.
Trying doesn't seem that extremely speculative.
Do we know that there is absolutely no connection between Brent Kopaka and Brian Koberger?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
no.
know.
We got
I haven't seen any other than him,
no,
his
Has
dad mentioning it in the car. That's the only connection.
no,
That's it.
yeah. The dad
okay,
just mentioned an alert he got, and we already kind of
and
established that. That narrative is
okay,
out the
and
I, I
window.
find that
but we
interesting,
wouldn't
Willie. That
know.
he didn't just go in. He ended up doing all those loops, and then
Yeah,
right
but
when the DoorDash
But
driver drives away, then he turns around and parks, and that's when everything happens.
we wouldn't know if he hadn't come across Kopaka in the capacity of a participant in the study, because those kind of details are always confidential. So, I am presuming that any researcher, is keeping the signed off, how do you call these bits? Before you test your participants, they're signing this, information, things that you don't trace, but everything is confidential. But
I
Yeah,
totally get
Frank.
that, but don't you think it's kind of conspiratorial if we know for a fact that Brent
oh
Kopaka
yeah,
and
oh
Brian
yeah, I
Koberger are
totally
not
get.
connected? Then what is the point? What is the point in trying to make it connection?
No, do you know
Yeah,
why? Do you know why? Because then
I want to know why.
that helps me solve some of the problems that I have in the head, such as I see you too. The forum posts between the two, between whoever was signing themselves as Papa Roger and another person.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Hey, Frank, you had asked how did he
Frank,
know to go over
you're
there at
killing me.
that time? How did he know that that was like that the night to do it?
Yeah.
If you go way back on my videos, I did a video on just Kaylee and
Guys,
Maddie where I showed
I'm a
that they
freaking
had their
logical guy. In all honesty, I'm a logical guy. I like logic. I like things making sense. And when things does not make sense, people would tend to make like their own freaking opinion about it. Doesn't mean
yeah,
that they're right though. See, and
yeah.
that is why I like unbiased opinion though. But making stuff up out of thin air, I think you guys are then really out of fucking line, and I think it's wrong. I think it's not only morally wrong,
Hmm.
because we can say fucking everything, we can say everything. Does that mean that we are right? Just because you have a thought, believe me, I talk to a shitload of people,
No,
just
but
like
does
you
that
all.
mean that we are wrong if we are asking the questions? That's my point. I have
No,
no
but it
agenda here.
depends on what kind of question you ask. If a question has already been answered, does that mean that, and it's factual? You can see, I mean, be for honest, me and Willie, we had contact with an individual that knew that went on that explained what actually was going on,
Uh-huh.
and still people are fucking bothering them. And
No,
honestly,
yeah, I'm
B,
sorry,
I
like
think it's fucking sickening. No, 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 no.
my
Listen to me.
intention
I
really
think it's
wasn't
fucking
that
sickening.
at all. My
No, I think
intention
it's fucking
wasn't.
sickening that you even mention his name because it's unfair.
No, really, I'm so sorry. I mean, I didn't mean it. It's not. I do apologize. That's
I
not my point was, that you can make up like billions of scenarios in your head, and then it's
But you're
always.
an expert, right? You claim to be an expert. You should know
I was
better.
just asking a question because, like to me, some of these things haven't been like answered, and I'm not really accusing anybody. I'm just like, in fact, I'm trying to say that, a lot of the people have already accused this guy and, proclaimed him guilty, like, so he should have exactly the same kind of.
To mention him in
mm,
the first place.
uh, yeah, I'm
I
I'm
think I
sorry
think
that it
B
it
I
came
think
that
B if you
way.
and
I just
until
wanted to
you're
say there's all these possibilities that we
no,
don't necessarily think
But
of. That
but
Well,
those
there
there are
exactly,
are
are.
possibilities, but
possibilities.
again,
There's
at this,
no
and
connection.
those
hold on. At
possibilities
this,
are exactly dangerous.
at this point in time,
Yeah, I guess.
we need to focus on the possibilities that are at hand, which is what we know because there's going to be a trial. That they
Okay.
have information, and Brian Koberger's in jail. So right now we have to focus on
think so.
Mhm.
what they have, and what they can prove. Not, if this person or that person knew this person that might have been involved with that person. Great. Okay. That can be figured out later on. But right now, we need to focus on, did Brian Kohlberger do this? And if he did, can they prove it? And if they can't, that's, again, this is what this live is for, to just kind of go over those kind of details, not, starting to
Yeah, all
bring
right. I'm really sorry. I
you
think
know what
I
I mean?
went into
No.
too
Listen, I
much
mean,
of
everybody, it's
my.
not, listen,
It
everybody
is
has
fine.
their
It is
opinion.
fine.
Everybody has,
It's my dark corridors in my
oh,
head, and
no,
I
listen,
guess
it's perfectly fine.
I don't know.
yeah.
Baby, it's totally fine if you
Okay.
say something that is in your head. I'm
Yeah.
not discrediting you for it. I'm really sorry if I come out
No,
a
I
little bit harsh, but that
apologize.
is thing that I'm really passionate about. I do
I
not mean to
also
discredit.
apologize because I forgot for a moment that people are listening or are being involved that
Mhm.
know the story, and I'm just coming like somebody who is like, yeah, absolutely, just here for the conversation about how and what happened and who was connected to who.
I
Yeah,
swear to
I'm
God,
sorry.
no, I just want to one chat as well. If you do not like what I have to say, even during passionate moments, then go fuck off. I do not care about your opinion, never will, because we're having a normal conversation here. And if there's a little, it would be different if I would kick B.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not even reading what they're writing. Oh, it's
No,
so cool,
it's fine. See,
It's
here's the
so
problem,
cool.
Frank. You gotta understand, there's a lot more people coming in now, and your personality. They don't know your personality yet, But
Sorry about
you
my
know,
dog, y'all.
they
Really,
will.
really. Okay, this is the first one in the fucking 2.5 hours that I'm gonna kick. I should care. Woman, the fuck off. Do you really think that I don't care?
Who?
Really? You obviously do not know what the fuck you are talking about. Do you really think I don't care?
Who's
Stop
saying
fucking with
that?
my
I
Who
feelings.
said
think you,
that?
I think you're
That is the
very
first one.
caring.
Go ahead. No, I'm gonna let you stay. I'm gonna let you fucking suffer and ignore you.
Who is it?
Fuck off.
Who, the chick? Chick, what's going on?
I don't know. She fucking comes here every single time. Now she's being fucking suddenly all disrespectful.
Oh my lord.
It's a difficult topic.
Oh, I see. Oh my. Okay.
Uh,
Okay. So I want to,
no, fair,
Frank.
fair.
Whatever.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
May I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Okay. So a little bit ago, you asked like how did he know? How would he know who was there that night and where they were and all that?
Yeah.
If you look at their early social media before their families locked them down, I got some screenshots real early, and you can see that Kaylee and Maddie both had their locations on in public.
On Snapchat?
And so I wonder if, I mean, I know we've heard rumors about, possibly whatever the messages were that I heard about, supposedly he messaged somebody. Well, we don't know. It doesn't really matter if he was following them or messaging them or whatever. Their stuff was public, and it had the GPS location. And I believe it was it Kaylee's or Maddie's last photo from her B-reel where she's posing in the mirror before they go out that night, and you can see the location on the photo. And so I wonder if if he or whoever they could see that.
Oh yeah. I was arguing that and too that this individual ever did this did the Jew location on Snapchat. It's
Yeah.
not that weird actually.
Another reason, and I remembered the police. They were right there at the band field where you would turn onto Taylor, not onto King, I think it is first. And so when you're talking about why he might have been doing loops, perhaps he saw the police there. Again, I am not a believer that he did this by himself if he was involved. Um, but, perhaps with the police presence there, that could have had him doing it. Or if the order was supposed to be delivered at a particular time, that also could explain him driving around. The third thing would be even the police and a lot of the body camera were misaddressing the house. They were saying it was King Road when it was Queen Road.
Yeah.
There a lot of confusion. So I feel like someone had done turn by turn, like through Waze or Google or something like that, that could have had you confused with where the house actually was. So it could have been any of those reasons for him riding around. Again, my thought of him waking up and saying, okay, today's the day, and him going over there, and then there being the activity that we can see, if any of this footage is accurate. There is, it's a very condensed area close to fraternity, sorority row, lots of things going on there. And with the police right there at the corner of where you could turn in there, I would have imagined that, again, unless he had some type of psychotic break, the police, the accident outside his dorm, the police right there at the corner, the extra vehicle.
Can you explain that? The accident around his dorm?
Pardon me?
The accident around his dorm?
Yeah, not his dorm, Brian's apartment. I say dorm when it's not. Right
No,
out,
I got that. I got that.
right outside of that, there was like a hit and run. Somebody got hit, and there was a road closed down right there by him that seemingly he would have had to pass through to go over to Moscow. So right there where he was a large police presence. I think it was a hit and run. I believe a girl was hit. I'd have to look. So he wakes up, or has been up and planning it all night, and gets this where his phone's active, which could be incoming or outgoing, from activity. And he gets up, gets in the car that must already be ready for him to do it, because, again, with blood transfer, with 4 brutal murders,
Mhm.
him getting in and out of that house in such a short period of time, we're talking about him having to layer, him having to protect his car, him.
Yeah, and literally like every single spot of that car as well, like
Thing.
everywhere.
He would have had to have it ready. So when he got in
Yeah.
the car, so that kind of leaves out he just decided today was the day.
Yeah.
He
And
might
again,
have.
you can argue. I mean, like I said, people can argue. He cleaned his car with, cleaning agents that won't show up as far, as hitting it with a light. But you have to ask yourself, if he's smart enough to get those kind of chemicals, but stupid enough to bring his car and his own phone to the crime, I don't see those two making any sense. Because again, if you look at how this was done, it's like it was done from somebody that's street smart, not book smart.
Exactly.
He took his car, took his phone, left the sheath, left the witness. I mean, should I keep going?
Correct.
But again, when you look at what I just said, none of it 100% concrete shows it's him. Like they can't even put him in the car 100%, in my opinion.
Well, they might be able to put him in the car. We just don't know. We only know what's in the PCA.
But again, if they were,
they may have other footage, right?
But again, I'll go back to like what I stated before. If they were already tracking him, okay, they should have already been able to put him in that car and knew it was him and not needed the public's help, in my opinion. If they already gathered all the information, so they might have it, they might not. But I'm focusing on they don't, because they gave us a stock image of a car with a sunroof. That's what they literally put out to us. So if he went all these places and there's all these traffic cams, where is a picture to the public of the actual vehicle?
I think it wasn't until the 17th that they were able to see a lot of the footage, though. Remember? This happened on the 13th, and there were several of the wasn't that the day that they started canvassing and actually viewing videos? They didn't know for several days.
What day did they come?
17th.
What day did you say? November?
No, 18th or 17th. Something.
Yeah.
They did the video canvas.
And what date did they come out with a description of a vehicle?
I'm thinking the 20th.
Yeah, that's when they released it, but they I don't know.
So
There,
from them, so from then up until
I
they
don't know,
got him, they never
25.
updated the photo. Is what I'm saying. They never, from all the
But
footage
because
that
it's
they
a
that's what
stock
tipped him
gathered.
image.
off.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
what
It's a
tipped him
stock image.
off.
It's a reference. It is not
I
necessarily
get it, but I'm
that
saying
car.
during that time, now they're gathering, and obviously nothing like license plate, like on the traffic camera, like they would have had that, my man. They would have had that.
But see, you see, everything that happens in the police investigating, they think it's a suspect vehicle. Does not mean that's definitely the perpetrator. You know why they got
No,
that
yeah,
stock
that's why it
image?
says number
Because
one.
Linda,
Yeah.
the footage that we're seeing that Lana was so bragging about, that is exactly the
Yes,
footage that they got first.
yes.
Which one?
The
I
dumb
believe
The one with the sunroof.
Oh, yeah.
the
That
owner
is
of
the one why they put that. They didn't know better. Because if
the
nobody fucking delivers their camera footage, then what do you have? Nothing. That's why they came into
I
the,
believe
the
there
terminology later that it was not a car with a fucking sunroof.
I
Yes,
believe
and remember the
there's
white car that they
I was
saw at the
talking about the
mobile
stock
station, and then
photo.
they kind of backed off of that one too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't
there,
know at first. It took them several days to figure out
No, I
what
mean,
exact model they were looking for, and then they weren't going to come right out and say, "Hey, we know it's a 2015 Elantra, 4-door, 2-door, and give all kinds of details of where it was going and where it was seen and all that," because that would have tipped him off, and he could have gone and burned the car or hurt somebody else. That's why they protected the surviving witnesses so hard and wouldn't tell us jack shit about them because they knew that he was still out there, and they
exactly.
could not tip him off. It was
Ho-
dangerous to not
Holy,
just the public, but to who was left behind, and to the officers. No telling what he could have done. He was there as
holy
a
shit!
and his parents. What if he knew they were coming and killed his family or whatever? If he's the guy, right?
I'm sorry that I interrupt you, but
Yeah.
holy shit, that makes me wonder if they are referring to that PCA for that car with the white sunroof or the car. Holy shit. Okay, hold on.
Mhm.
Let's walk through it. What
Do you guys get my confusion?
Yes.
That
Can I jump in here? The person who owned the Linda Lane footage, I believe I read an article where he turned that Linda Lane footage over immediately. They
yeah,
had
yeah. Exactly.
footage prior to their first press conference, which was the 16th. And this is the last thing that I can say, and then I got to run out and do some work with my girls. The thing that was really caught me was the first press conference being the 16th in the afternoon, and finding out, actually my daughter told me, she was talking about ring footage re-recording after 72 hours. And so if from the 13th 12th into the 13th in the morning, and then they're not having a press conference until the 16th in the afternoon, then most of the people who would have had ring camera footage or other footage that the police wouldn't have necessarily been aware of. And I say police in that I still have a belief that there is a possibility Brian could have been interning at one of these police departments, because we don't know that he wasn't, or doing ride-alongs or things like that. And so that 3-day wait really could have eliminated a lot of camera footage that would have been re-recorded over during very, very important times leading up to the crime. And that concerns me greatly when it comes to the police department not having that press conference for 3 full days.
Okay, hold on. Let's have a 5-minute break. Let me wrap my head around this because I think I know the logic behind this now. I think I know. Oh my fucking god. Okay, guys, be right back. Okay, holy shit.
Erlen in chat said you're having an epiphany.
Thank you.
You figure something out. You definitely figure something out.
Okay, while Frank is processing, I am going to step down because my AC guy is finally almost here.
Yeah, you definitely
I
need to
have
get that
been
fixed.
out. I've been out of AC all day, guys, and I'm melting.
Jeez. What's the temperature there?
Oh God. It is currently. And it's only 10:30 a.m. here. It is. I'm waiting for my phone to update. It's 90.
Holy
So in
hell!
here it's near 100. So I'm
With
gonna.
with humidity.
Oh, it is sticky hot here. But anyway, my
5
AC
minutes
is
is not gonna.
about to get fixed, so I'm gonna jump down, Frank, and
Yeah,
but
go
I'm
take
gonna
care
hit
of that.
pause on this live because I want to hear your thoughts when I get back.
But thanks for
You
coming
totally
on.
look like you are processing something big. I love it. All right, I will see you guys in a little bit.
See ya. Have a good day.
Bye. You too.
Makes so,
Bye,
makes so
Willy.
much fucking. Bye. Sorry. Oh my. Okay, hold on. Let me get a cigarette. This makes so much fucking sense. My dude.
What's up? What'd you figure out, brother? Talk to me.
Why you were talking about a stock? Like that's exactly the same one on Linda Lane. Why? How? So I know for a fact that Linda Lane footage was the first one. Why did they not correct it? Because they were having trouble with having all this video evidence, right?
You mean why didn't they correct what?
Because that car that is passing Easttown that Gray was saying is not necessarily white. That car that got that is what I'm saying. That stock footage, that stock image that you were saying is the exact same type of approximate car that we found that Truth and Transparency put out. I have to thank because that made up my mind. So all credits to her. Because it makes fucking sense. Because they had no fucking clue what they were doing.
And that's why they put out the wrong year?
Exactly. They put out the wrong fucking car.
I fucking said this, man. Everybody fucking was like calling me nuts. Fucking hell. Maya, thank you.
They put out the wrong fucking car.
Yeah, he has like Taiwan connection.
Yeah, fucking hell.
He skips a little bit, but
anyways, guys, I fucking love you, but we are kind of overdue now, so I'm gonna eat a bit, and I will catch you guys. And let me see.
Yeah, see you guys. Everybody have a good day.
4 p.m. They put the wrong fucking car, guys. Period. They fucked it up.
See y'all.
Peace.